What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on in to 1TS Daily right here at One True Sport. How's it going? I'm Zack Heydorn. It's been a bit, but I'm super pumped to be back. Super glad to be back here with you guys in the host chair. This is 1TS Daily with One True Sport. This is our news show. This is our daily news show where we talk about, analyze, and make a little news in the professional wrestling industry. Big thanks to Ryan Drosty from Top Rope Nation for covering for me while I was out on vacation with the family the last couple days. He is great, isn't he? I mean, man, talk about having like the best in the business hold it down for you while you're out of the office. Ryan's great. If you haven't checked out his stuff at Top Rope Nation, please do. I think you'll be happy that you do. They run a great shop over there, and you won't be disappointed. Thanks to everybody who's loading up in the live chat right now. What's going on, Eddie? What's going on, David? So glad to see you guys here and joining us live for the show. Before we get into things, have you headed over to onetruesport.com yet? And have you picked out your membership option yet? Well, hey, do that now. We got so many great membership tiers and so much wonderful content from a vast different array of hosts. You definitely want to pick a membership tier, and you definitely want to do it right away. OneTrueSport.com is your stop. As for today, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel here at One True Sport. We've got lots of great content that go up daily, and you're not going to want to miss any of it. So subscribe and like these videos. It helps us big time from the perspective of growing this channel and growing what we do at One True Sport. And it's all thanks to you guys. So appreciate you in advance for that. If you want to check out more of my work and what I do longer form, head over to Brass Ring Media. That is my little shop where we talk about pro wrestling and analyze pro wrestling long form. So long editorial pieces for our written work, long feature stories written wise, long ish podcasts and YouTube shows. We're live on our YouTube channel 4 days a week. Find us on YouTube at Brass Ring Media, and find us on Substack for our written work. Just search Brass Ring Media Substack and it will come up. Guys, I've got the chat open. I've got super chats open as well. If you're able to toss us a super chat, we appreciate that. It'd be great to get your support that way. Any little contribution helps us out and really helps keep this show moving and the channel moving forward as well. So I thank you in advance for any super chat questions or comments that you want to make. Definitely, I'll get to all those by the time the show goes off the air. Once again, the live chat's open too. Hello to David who's watching. What's up, David? Great to have you with us, man. Eddie's in there who says, morning. Good morning, Eddie. Hopefully all is well, my friend. We also have Liam in there too. Liam says, hey guys, what's up, Liam? Thanks so much for joining us. I got to say, David asks right out of the gate, did you ever hear of Nadia Kamenecki? Perhaps I think that's how it's pronounced. No, I have not. So do tell, David. do tell. And yes, man, I want to just further drive home the point for Eddie here. Eddie says Ryan did a great job. Yeah, he did. He did. I was able to catch some of the shows over vacation in Florida with the family, and got to listen to a couple like on a balcony with a coffee in my hand, or if it was later in the day, a cold beverage of some kind in my hand. And yeah, he did a great job. He's definitely a premier level pro wrestling analyst. So definitely check him out at Top Rope Nation. All right, let's get into the show. Let's get into the news of the day, the news of the week. Last night, AEW Dynamite. Really curious as to what you guys thought of this week's show, because it's go home hype. It's go home hype time for Forbidden Door, which is Sunday. We'll do a full preview, of that show tomorrow on 1TS Daily. So you guys can look forward to that. It'll kind of be our premier topic, previewing Forbidden Door. But last night was the final real pitch that Tony Khan had to get people to buy Forbidden Door, to get them excited about Forbidden Door. And I don't think that he landed the plane very well as far as that pitch. I think, he did a nice job adding matches to the show. He added some star power to the show. There's no question about that. They added the Young Bucks and Okada. They added Tanahashi in that same match. So, that's going to be a big deal for people that already care. They added Chris Jericho in a match against Minoru Suzuki. Do people care about that? Do people not care? Which I think is probably the case. So I think they jumped through some hoops as far as that final pitch goes, but I think a lot was left on the table as far as money for Tony Khan. The big issue that I had with the show, and that I think is a newsworthy part of this, is that where was the big Swerve Ospreay angle? Like, we got an angle, and I think it was a better angle than I expected going through. Like, from the perspective of, I thought it was like, oh man, we're gonna get Vince McMahon booking reincarnated here at the end of this show with Will Ospreay hitting Swerve Strickland with a kick to the face. Swerve Strickland, for some reason, not realizing that it's an accident, and walks out on him as part of the match, and we've all seen that play out before, right? They didn't do that, which I liked. I liked the fact that you had Swerve just kind of go, whatever, like, it's part of the match. Let's try to win this thing anyway. And then, of course, they did the angle where Will Ospreay snatches the belt back, the AEW World Title from Swerve, looks at it, and then Swerve drops him. For doing that. Look, in a vacuum, I think that's a good segment for the match. Like, just in a vacuum, if you're grading it just for what it was, which is just, is this a good segment overall? Was it entertaining? Did it make sense? Yeah, I think it checked both of those boxes, actually. I think it checked those boxes because it's a callback to how, like, the feud started. Remember, like, their first interaction, their first promo together, Swerve talked about, hey, if I wasn't friends with you and you stole that belt from me, I'd drop you. I'd put you in the ground, I think, as he said. And Ospreay did it again, and Swerve, made good on that promise. So it made sense. It was interesting. It was a fun little segment, but this is a big match, though. This is, two stars on the rise in your company, two guys that are, faces of AEW, and they're colliding head on in a match for your world title, on a show that's very much leaning on this match to sell the show and to sell the event. We needed to hear about that. I think we needed to hear like from both guys in some type of promo segment. You can do the same angle at the end of the show, but I mean, you had to give this more juice than you did. We needed to hear from Swerve. We needed to hear from Will Ospreay in detail about how this is a generational matchup and a generational title match and a generational moment, because in a way, that's what it is. Like, I think that the winner of this match is going to define where AEW goes here in the next 6 to 12 months. Is it going to be the Will Ospreay show? Is Will Ospreay going to win the title? And Tony Khan's going to say, here, Will, company's on your shoulders now, buddy. Like, go, go, go. Maybe. Or is it going to be Swerve who wins? And he continues his title run, and Will Ospreay, goes to the back of the line. And now the story with him is building up to a title match again. So I don't think what they did was bad. I just don't think they gave it the depth that it needed to carry the show. And you can say that about a lot of the matches. I don't think, like, Jon Moxley versus Tetsuya Naito, they had a little face-to-face and they had a little face-off, but you didn't get any type of context around what Naito means to New Japan, right? If you don't already know. You didn't get any context around Jon Moxley in terms of being the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion and defending on an AEW show against Naito, in a rematch. Like, there wasn't barely even a mention of their previous match that they had earlier this year in which Moxley won the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. There's, stuff left on the table there. So I think you saw a show this week where Tony Khan was jumping through all the right hoops, and he had those hoops set up. He said, all right, I'm gonna give a little background for the Young Bucks and Okada versus Acclaimed and Tanahashi match. Okay, we've got that promo segment. I'm jumping through that. We've got we're going to do the little video package on Mercedes Moné. Okay, we got that match taken care of. We're going to do the Mina Shirakawa, Mariah May, Tony Storm angle. Okay, we got that. We did that. We have a Zack Sabre Jr. match. Okay, well, we handled that. So it's like, I think he touched every match that's going to be on the show, but he didn't really give good storyline reasons to be interested in every match on the show. So I'm curious to those who are watching live in the chat here and on YouTube and on Twitter, what did you guys think? Did last night's show make you want to buy the event more than it did before last night's show? Eddie's not with it. It wasn't good. No build for a few matches, and he also says it was bad. Yes, I think that tracks. That tracks. And Eddie also has a question here. He says, Zach, they should have, or not a question, a comment. They should have had the tag team match last week and had cut a final promo last night for their pay-per-view match. And this is in regards to Swerve and Will Ospreay. Yeah, absolutely. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it wasn't a bad angle, and it wasn't a bad, chapter in the story. It wasn't bad, but as your final chapter, as like the climax of your story, like that's where it doesn't fit. And I think that is paramount, to have that final go home promo, like they say, like, look, it's I don't want to be like the get off my lawn guy in pro wrestling here, but babyface go home promos still work. And in this case, you have a babyface Swerve, you have a babyface Will Ospreay. Have them both cut them in front of the other. Give it some depth where you can't possibly miss this match on Sunday, because you got to see Will Ospreay against Swerve Strickland. That is where I think they dropped the ball. We'll preview the full show tomorrow. The full Forbidden Door show will be rapid fire because it is a long card. We'll preview it, so you're not going to want to miss that. So put us in your calendar. 1TS Daily tomorrow, 11 Eastern. We're going to preview Forbidden Door, start to finish, right here on the show with you live. And you can comment, you can ask questions. I don't like this match. I think this person is going to win. We'll go back and forth. It's going to be an absolute blast. So don't miss it. 11 Eastern tomorrow. 1TS Daily Forbidden Door preview. Now, the other key news story coming out of yesterday was that opening promo with MJF. Now, I need to make a sidebar here really quick. And I wrote about this morning for Brass Ring Media. How do I do this? Boop. You can check us out on Substack, and we're also going to have some live shows coming up today on YouTube. So definitely check us out on YouTube, follow us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. But my AEW Dynamite review column, why is AEW starting shows in the middle of entrances? Like, not just like jobber entrances or like entrances for a battle royal, but like big time star entrances. This week it was MJF. MJF has been the victim of this twice. It's a small thing. Like, I get it. Like, you may look at it and goes, oh, well, we can save some time if we cut 10 seconds off the entrance and just, jump right into the show as MJF's making his entrance. No. Perception is reality, right? Perception is reality. And you've got to show the MJF pop. That is how you can easily tell your audience quickly, hey, this guy's our big star. Look at all these people reacting to him, right? Like, Come on. you gotta like feature your big stars in that way. You wouldn't start a Monday Night Raw episode with Stone Cold Steve Austin like 10 seconds into his entrance. And why wouldn't you do that? Because you don't want to miss it. You want to miss the glass breaking. You don't want to miss the big audience pop. You want to articulate to your audience that this is the biggest star in your company. And you can't do that if you don't have the entrance air in full. So get it together, AEW. You got to show those entrances. 10 seconds you can cut from a match if you need to, but that's really, really important. Sean's here. What's up, Sean? Sean says, what's up, Zach? Yeah, it was not a great show. I probably won't buy Forbidden Door, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I think you've got a good point, Sean. I mean, I think a lot of people are sitting right where you are right now. And Sean, I ask you, as a longtime listener of my stuff and a contributor to some of our work and a member of Brass Ring Media since the beginning, I ask you, like, would a stronger go home segment for the main event push you over the edge? Like if they treated that match as more of a generational match where talent is going to go head to head, two top guys, and they talked about that more and they leaned into that story more, would that have made you want to watch it more and order it more? Let me know in the chat. Eddie's jumping in saying AEW production is terrible. Whoever's in charge of production for AEW has no business in pro wrestling. Look, they're a new company, right? You got to give them kind of, you got to cut them some slack for that. WWE's been doing this for 40 plus years. AEW's been doing it for 5. There is a difference there. But some things are just so obvious, and there's people in the company that should know better. MJF should know better. Should be able to tell Tony Khan, like, no, you're not cutting my entrance. Sorry. Cut someone else's, but you're not cutting mine on the biggest star that you have. That should be obvious. Yeah, Sean's answer. Maybe. Yeah, if they treated it bigger, I might have for sure. Yes, yeah. I think a lot of people are in your boat, Sean. I think lots of people are in your boat. Okay, so speaking of MJF, sorry for that sidebar tangent on entrances, but they're important. They're important, folks. So MJF comes out and gets immediately interrupted by Daniel Garcia. MJF was hit and miss for me this week. I mean, he's a big star. He acts like a big star, and the audience perceives him as a big star. That's all important, and that's all, good and good for the company. I can't stand the merch shilling or the pay-per-view shilling in such an obvious way for MJF. Like, it's so annoying. It's like, that's not good promo work. You're past that, man. Like, MJF's past the point of being quirky and silly and kind of talking to the camera that way. How about you cut a good promo for your match on Sunday at Forbidden Door and sell the pay-per-view that way? I think it's really unbecoming. I think it's just way below, what we've come to expect from MJF. And I know he does it to be cool. He does it to be silly. He does it to kind of wink and nod at the camera. And I get it, but man, it's not working. And I think AEW needs him to just be MJF, the pro wrestler, and not, goofy MJF. I think that helps. And yeah, Hechicero, they barely even talked about it. Like, MJF kind of buried his own match, like with that promo. So I didn't think he had a very good night. Daniel Garcia, on the other hand, I thought he had a good night out there. But the question that I had is, why? What's with the push of Daniel Garcia? I think the whole precipice of that opening segment was to create dissension between MJF and Will Ospreay. Like, I think what they set up was Will Ospreay stepping on MJF and, giving MJF the cold shoulder, ignoring MJF, and like trying to, Bigfoot him. I think that's what they tried to build. And I think that they were effective to that end. So the question is now then, is Garcia just a means to that end? Like, is he a guy who's out there, like, pouring his heart out about winning matches and wanting opportunities, and is just gonna, lose to Will Ospreay next week, obviously for the AEW International Championship. And if he does end up facing MJF at All In, like lose that match too, I mean, I think he had a good night on the microphone, and I think he held his own with those guys. But when you read the tea leaves and you say to yourself, okay, well, where does this go? You had both MJF and Will Ospreay put over Daniel Garcia, but nothing's going to happen there. They put him over, but I don't think Daniel Garcia is in line for an elevation of any kind. And so they kind of hurt Garcia in that, because they said all these nice things about him. They put him over. Garcia talked about winning, and now he's not going to do any of those things. Not ideal. So yeah, I think I read that as Garcia just being a means to an end. But we'll see how that goes. Liam jumping in with a question here. I want to make sure to get to this because it's on this exact topic. Liam says, what do you think about MJF versus Daniel Garcia at Wembley? How are they going to build to this match from here? So here's the thing, Liam, I don't think they're going to go to that match. I don't think that that's the match that Tony Khan really has in mind. Like, again, the purpose of the segment was to plant seeds for Will Ospreay versus MJF. That's what was really going on there. And I think that Garcia was a means to that end, as I mentioned. Like, he's the tool that they used for this segment to have Ospreay, Bigfoot, MJF. So I think that they may be angling towards MJF versus Will Ospreay at Wembley Stadium at All In. That, to me, is a match that you do. MJF versus Garcia, that's a Dynamite match. Like, that's just not an All In match. I mean, it's just not, period. And so, I just don't think that's in the cards. Like, MJF versus Daniel Garcia, good match. Could be something that they get a beach break type episode of Dynamite main event out of, but it's not it's not anything more. It's not anything more than that. I don't think, Liam. So yeah, so MJF Garcia, and you kind of had MJF call that out during the segment, right? Like, he said, you've got a lot on your plate. You didn't really answer my challenge. You want to do this instead with Will Ospreay? Go ahead and do that. And I'll get back to you. So he's almost like he kind of pulled it off the table too. So yeah, I think you're looking at MJF versus Ospreay more so than you are MJF versus Daniel Garcia. Thanks, Liam. I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for the comment. Yeah, Andrew jumping in here and agrees. MJF Ospreay, for the world title. No way Ospreay leaves New York without that title. Andrew, you have to join our show tomorrow. We'll want some comments. We're going to preview Forbidden Door in full. So I don't want to give my predictions yet. I'm going to save them for that show. Because see, this is why Eddie jumps in and goes, Ospreay isn't beating Swerve. Well, this is the conversation that I want to have. So pumped about this already. All right, let's move on to some other topics. I want to talk quickly on the Wyatt Sicks. I did not have a chance to earlier in the week because I was not here. But man, what a follow-up. Like, that was huge. Like, I just thought that interview segment with, Uncle Howdy and Bo Dallas, goodness gracious, that was compelling television. And, AEW has WWE beaten on, like, the match front. They're putting on stronger in-ring matches, and they really always have. But when you see, like, what they did with the Wyatt Sicks and Uncle Howdy and Bo Dallas, it's it's unmatched right now in terms of quality, storytelling, work from the wrestler point of view. Like, Bo Dallas is he's emotional, and he's selling kind of the agony of losing his brother, and at the same time, Uncle Howdy is playing into it and almost like, egging Bo Dallas on to explore, like, the darkness of the feeling that was left when he lost his brother. Like, there's just so much going on there, and it has a lot of potential. It's got still fundamental problems in that how does it fit into a wrestling ring, but you can't discount just how effective it was this week, and just how like you had a big follow-up moment. And that's what I was looking for. Like, how do you follow up such a great debut? They had a lot of options, and now they got to keep going with it. But I wanted to just kind of hat tip that segment because I thought it was just excellent. Andrew agrees, says fire, the manner, and the content. That's a follow-up. Yes. Eddie jumps into, Zach, do you think that segment, do you think they did that segment to have closure? Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think that could be part of it. I don't think that that's the key driver though either. I think that part of the story here is what they started, and so maybe, for Bo Dallas, there was some closure there and he got to address some things on camera with his brother. But I also think it's a foundation setter too for what's to come with the Uncle Howdy character. Like, I think that was just as important as what we saw from a closure perspective too. So hopefully that answers your question, Eddie. Good question though. I appreciate that. But yeah, great, thumbs up, follow up. I mean, that's what you want to see for a major angle, like that. All right, let's talk about Impact Wrestling here for a second. We've got wow, I did it. First time ever. Normally I'm better about this. I said Impact Wrestling. Let's talk about TNA Wrestling. And let's talk about Impact, the television show tonight. We've got Nick Nemeth versus Rich Swann in a qualifier to enter the 6-way TNA Championship match at Slammiversary. We also have Steve Macklin versus Sami Callihan in a qualifier for that same TNA Slammiversary match. So two big matches there. We got Zaya Brookside against Masha Slamovich, Ace Austin and Chris Bay versus Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel against Cody Deaner and Jake Something in a triple threat tag team match. Kushida is going to wrestle Alan Angels, and then Mustafa Ali will give his State of the Union. So a pretty noteworthy show for this week. Honestly, those qualifier matches are compelling and interesting. I mean, Nick Nemeth versus Rich Swann, that should be a really good match. Steve Macklin and Sami Callihan, also a good match for an entirely different reason. Those two guys are just different workers than Nemeth and Swann, and so you're going to get two really solid matches this week on the show. If you tune in, I'm always curious about what Mustafa Ali is doing. He's, I think, found his voice as X Division champion. I think he's found his voice as a as a heel and as a character, and so the sky's the limit for him if he keeps working the way that he is. Shout out to Aaron, who just became a new member. Aaron, thanks so much, man. Appreciate you. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for becoming a member. Thank you. We're here with this show every single day, 11 Eastern. So you're not gonna want to miss it. Definitely check in. So put us in your calendar, pencil us in for 11 Eastern. We got shows every day right here, and we have a blast doing it. So thanks for coming on board. All right, and let's see here. Last but not least, I want to get to some nuggets, some 1TS Daily Nuggets live here. Rhea Ripley and Buddy Matthews, they're married. Congrats to the happy couple. News dropped late last night that they got married, and that's cool. Rhea Ripley, you can check out some photos on various sites, Fightful, SE Scoops. I wish I had one here that I could pull up, but Rhea Ripley looks really happy. Buddy Matthews looks really happy. So congrats to them. And last but not least, Tony Khan open to Shane McMahon potentially working with AEW. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Do you believe it? This is what Tony Khan said on the topic to Sports Illustrated. He said, I heard a rumor I heard the rumor that he might be interested, Tony Khan said. And then he added in, I never met Shane, but we have a lot of mutual friends. I have a lot of respect for him as an executive and as a professional wrestler. Shane is always welcome in AEW. Now that would be interesting. I don't know if I buy it. I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if Shane would do it. I don't know if Tony Khan would do it. But hey, I guess it's good for Tony Khan to keep that door open and to keep that keep that intrigue swirling and the rumor mill moving. After all, it is the pro wrestling business. So, all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Our 30 minutes, it's already up. Man, it goes by fast. As I said, tomorrow, 11 Eastern here on the show, we'll preview Forbidden Door, so you're not going to want to miss that. Thanks to everybody who listened live on YouTube. Thanks to everybody who listened and watched on Twitter. If you haven't done so yet, head over to onetruesport.com. Become a member. Become a member just like Aaron. You're not going to want to miss out what we do here on this show and all of our other great shows. If you can, subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, like the video. It helps us with the algorithm. If you want more of what I do on a day-to-day basis, head over to Brass Ring Media. That's my company, and you can check it out now for written work and for more long-form podcasts analyzing the professional wrestling business. We do it all week there. We'd love to have you as a subscriber. You can become a member on Patreon, patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. We have one tier. Pretty cheap. And so hopefully you guys take advantage. But if not, we have free platforms on YouTube and on Substack where our written work lives. Search Brass Ring Media on both, and you'll find us. Cool. You can follow me on Twitter at Zack_Heydorn. That's Zack_Heydorn. And love to chat with you guys there too. But for me and for everybody here at 1TS Daily, thank you so much. We'll catch you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Talk to you guys really soon. Have a good day. Later.